Welcome back to the PFPod, the podcast where we break down action, strategy, and excitement of robotics competitions like FIRST and beyond.
From last-minute gift shopping to championship-winning plays, we're here to talk about what makes the robotics season the most wonderful time of year.
Whether you're a builder, coder, elf, or just love the vibes of the holidays, we've got stories, insights, and maybe a few presents to share.
So grab some cookies, sit by the fire, and talk about the world of competitive robotics. Alrighty everyone, welcome back and welcome to our FTC holiday special episode. I am your host, Lindsey, not to be confused because I am in Max's seat, but we actually have a very special guest here today.
Hi, I am Ivan. I am an alum of FTC Team 15385, Midnight Mayhem. I'm from the Bay Area, which is Northern California, and I was doing FTC for 3 years and I'm now the current FTC Director of PFP.
Awesome. So we are very lucky to have Ivan here today because the FTC competition season is right around the corner, or some teams may have even started competing. And so we're here to talk about the infamous FTC portfolio and what to do and what not to do to make an award-winning portfolio. Most teams, well, I guess not most teams, but sometimes the portfolio can become like a side errand or get pushed to the side because you're busy working with your robot. But do not skimp out on the portfolio. It's sometimes your key to advancing to the next level of competition.
Yeah, the main goal of the portfolio is to tell the judges what your team did. If the judges can tell that you're really passionate, you worked really hard, and you explain why everything you did about your robot is the way it is, that usually translates into something. So do it for the love of the game, and the awards will follow. So, how does your team make a portfolio, Lindsey?
Yeah, so I was an alumni of Team 13474, and so we have won a couple different awards. So this is my methodology, if you will, on how to make an award-winning portfolio. So this is the Lindsey's methodology to an A+ winning portfolio. My very first step when we would make a portfolio is it starts before the season even starts, before you even see what the game is going to be and what robot you're going to build. My team would always start with crafting your story. And this is basically setting goals for your team and what your team is planning to accomplish aside from the actual competition. Yeah. So for us, my senior year, a lot of my team was seniors. So a big focus or theme of our season was professional development. Yeah. You know, we were all going off either to college or to work. So like meeting with professionals and understanding, different fields we might be interested in. So that was really like our team story. And so a lot of the outreach we did was oriented around, one, helping our community and spreading the message of FIRST, but also preparing ourselves for this new transition.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very unique way of approaching the season.
Yeah, I think like when you're able to tell a story to the judges and say like, this is what we did all the way through, you're able to support and say like, we had a central goal. It also helps with your team plan because then you have goals already set up for the season.
Yeah.
So once you have that set up, I actually would do this at the beginning of the season, but you can do it at the end too. Our team would do most of our outreach in the off season, so that made this convenient. But I would then lay out what you want your portfolio to look like, visually speaking. So you don't need all your content, but this is some examples of work that we would do. So like, we'd lay it out, paper and pencil, draw out different sections, boxes. I think this should go here and that can go there. It would help me to like kind of just think through with how I wanted it to look before I got to any content.
Yeah, definitely. I know my teams also tried to lay out things before we kind of put all the content together and made it look good.
Mm-hmm. So once you get to that point, this kind of has a few different ways to do it. Personally speaking, I would like to gather all my content before I started laying it out. But sometimes laying it out in a design software is better. So we like to use Canva in the past. I know some other teams use Google Slides and make the actual slide, the shape of the width of a piece of paper.
Yeah, so my team actually used Google Slides, and basically since a paper is 8.5 by 11, you can change the page presets, so it's not like the flat slide, but rather into a page.
Yeah, and that just gives you a little more freedom than working on like a Word doc or a Google doc because, those Word those text software programs, text processing, the ones where you type words, they're not made for photos or design work, and so it's a little harder and very finicky to get things how you want it to look. So just make sure you can find a program that you can design and your team can edit, basically. Whatever works for you works. And then this is another step. Like I said, these two steps are kind of interchangeable, but get your content. What are you going to put in your portfolio? So our team, we would actually do this in a Google Doc. So we didn't even worry about any design aesthetics. We said, let's get the content put together. So I actually have a rough draft for you guys. Don't judge us. This was before anything was done and perfected. This was the roughest draft you'll see here. But this is Mars Curiosity's portfolio for 2022-2023 season. I don't remember what season that was. Oh, Power Play. That's Power Play. And so, yeah, if you just want to scroll through for us. It basically is just our content. We just worried about what content we wanted to put in there and getting our information together. So this is all like team plan stuff. So like, how do we get mentors and how do we maintain recruitment, or what were our goals? Then we would go into outreach and just get the info together for the different outreach events and some of the good photos that we wanted to include. And don't worry about formatting. I mean, our draft it looks like 18 pages long. So that obviously is not something you're going to submit. It's just to get everything together in one place. So that way everyone from your team can contribute. People who might not specialize in design work and are afraid to, produce work because they're like, oh, it might not match the aesthetic. Yeah. Well, there is no aesthetics. So that's what we would do. I don't know. What did you guys do for drafting?
I think most of our stuff was still just on the engineering notebook, and we kind of pulled information from that. And then we also, at the end, since not all your team members, like, they might not be super familiar with different parts, but they have their own specialty that they worked on, so they can check kind of the parts that you made look better and make sure that it's giving the same information that they want to show the judges.
So this is kind of my biggest portfolio hack, if you can even call it a hack. So, you design this gorgeous looking thing in Canva or Google Docs, and your marketing team and your technical teams, everyone's collaborating and it looks fabulous on the computer, and you're like, amen, this portfolio is about to be an award-winning portfolio and it's gonna be great. And then you print it out and you can't read any of the text because it's too small or the colors don't work. So my biggest thing is print your draft out. It might seem like a waste of ink and paper, and I get it, but I promise it is worth it. And don't try to remove the backgrounds. No, do it exactly how you would give it to the judges. Because then you can sit down with your coach, your team, your mentors, and take a pen to it. So, for example, this is obviously our portfolio, and so I went through and you'll see my little pink pen. Yeah. Big fan of the pink pen. And I wrote in here, I said, we need to change the color of this box because I don't think it works very well. And I put here that we needed to include money numbers in our fundraising. And our team would just go to work on it. And we would just write down, take it through, and scratch out what was wrong, what needed fixed, what needed changed. All the small things, especially text sizes.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell sometimes. And you don't want your judges to be going, what does this say?
Yeah, you often want to think about the people that are reading your portfolio. Usually they're older people that may have more difficult time if you make your text teeny tiny and you try to fit everything in. So definitely trying to make sure that everybody can read it and be able to understand what you're trying to show. So let's say you're done with your first iteration and you have a solid rough draft. So what's the next steps and how do you review your things?
So I would say one of the things when you're going through your printed out portfolio or just doing a big team review, one thing to look for is if you're using any team jargon in your portfolio. And so what this really means is words that an outsider wouldn't know. And so a good way to test this is my mom. I would sit down with my mom and I would go through it and I would say, like, what do you not understand? Like, what are words that, like, jump out to you that you're like, oh, what does this mean? And so this really is, for my team, this was a big deal with outreach events, because, you know, you have the name of a festival. So we did an event called Mars New Year. Sounds cool, right? But, like, what is that? And so if you write, oh, we did Mars New Year in your portfolio, judges are going to go, oh, cool, sounds amazing. So instead, we would include stuff like we went to a festival, we would coordinate and showcase our robots, and we would try to get the point across using words that everyone could understand, not just jargon that's just to our team. So I think that's a big thing. Also with mechanical aspects and technical aspects, I guess with software, if you have programs that aren't common use, like Roadrunner or something.
I think also for the mechanical side, most of the judges probably don't know a lot of the FTC specific mechanisms. For example, even just like motors, servos, like they might just be unaware, like they're not engineers all the time. So explaining how each thing works is very helpful to get judges to understand what you're trying to do.
I would say like the next thing, and this is more of a formatting aspect of the portfolio, is what really catches your eye when you look at the page first. And this is something when I mentor, I even still go back and say, when you look at this page, what is the first thing that your eyes go to? Because the judges do have a very limited amount of time when they're looking at your portfolio, and you want the most important stuff to stand out to them. So you can use colors, shapes, formatting to really make your portfolio give the information that you want it to. So, you know, like when I look at this page, this year, the year that this portfolio was made for, we had a big emphasis on mentorship. And so looking at this page, we wanted you to know how many mentors we had. So we made that a big detail right there. Yeah. And so that's something that your team, it's very subtle that you can make those changes, but it can really, you know, it could be good for your team.
Yeah, I think also adding a lot of pictures also helps to draw people's eyes, as, you know, everybody likes looking at pictures rather than reading most of the time. So having that is very useful.
So another thing, and this is kind of like formatting also, is if you look at a page, is it overwhelming? Is it, do your eyes not know where to start on the page? Because in that case, if it's just a wall of text, the judges don't have exactly a long time to spend reading paragraphs of text. So how can you utilize space, basically, I feel like is a big one.
Yeah, I think my team's kind of ran into the issue of putting a little too much text. There's definitely a lot of information that we had, but we tried to put it all out there, and sometimes it's a little too much, so definitely something that we could have improved on. So yeah, now let's move into some of our more technical stuff for your portfolio, where you try to get judges to want to give you the Think Award, the Innovate Award, or the Design Award. So the main requirement for the Think Award is you want to show evidence of the engineering design process. You want lessons learned and implementations from your lessons into your design of your robot. And you want to include some trade-offs, cost-benefit analysis, or any mathematical things that you did to make design decisions. So these are all the required items for the Think Award. So if you want the Think Award, you want to make sure you have these. So let's take a look at my team's NorCal Regional Winning Think Award from 2024, and I'll walk you through the portfolio and show you some of the things that my team did, and also comment on some of the things that we probably could have improved on. So if you want to scroll down a little bit, just general information is always good to have. You want to introduce your team and show what you did throughout the season just as a start, so judges can get ready with it. If you want to move on. Next, the team plan. This is a more optional part of the portfolio, but if you look in the competition manual, there are some things about sustainability, so we want to include some of what my team did. For example, creating our inventory system to kind of sort parts and make sure that we could keep track of everything.
That's a cool use of the sustainability plan.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I feel like usually it's about like recruitment and retention.
Yeah, so since our team was a school team, we weren't able to get a lot of mentors, or students would just come into the school and decide whether or not they want to join the team. So we try to think about new ways to do it. Next, obviously, as I mentioned before, you want evidence of the engineering design process. So explicitly stating that and showing kind of the different process that you did is also very important. Moving on, my team's main focus was on strategy. We wanted to make sure that our strategy would help inform the design of our robot. And even at our regional competition, the judges specifically asked about how our strategy helped. And we were able to explain kind of the features of our robots that we decided to design using our strategy. For example, this year's game center stage, there was a bar in the middle that was 12 inches tall, and you had to get under it, or you could go around, and going around would be less efficient. So we wanted to make sure that we could easily travel across the field.
I will say I like your diagrams there. I think
Yeah.
a picture's worth 1,000 words at the end of the
Spent
day.
a lot of
So
time on those.
it's a very pretty.
Yeah.
So
And then moving on, this is just one tip that I really like to do. So showing a robot overview, I think a lot of teams often are very focused on showing how each part is on the robot. And that's really good, but showing how it all connects and giving a preview of kind of how your robot looks like. So judges, when they walk around, they can take a look at your robot and be like, oh yeah, I remember that one. I saw that one in that really cool portfolio. They're just showing some information on that. Then on to more of the parts that I was talking about. The main thing to think about is explaining why you did everything. So for example, my team had some design requirements as mentioned from the strategy, but we also want to explain exactly why we want to do those, even if they're super simple. Like for example, I don't know, like you want to fit into the 18 by 18 area. Obviously that's pretty obvious. You're required to do that, but we wanted to mention that because you thought about it, right? Every decision that you do, you think about it. So just including that is very useful.
I feel like you're really trying to show that you didn't just haphazardly put the design together. You did, even if it's something as simple as fitting in the box, you considered it and factored it in.
Yeah. And then if you keep on scrolling, go back to that one. Yeah. So on this page specifically, the intake was our most iterated design. So we wanted to make sure that we showed how it evolved over the season. So if you can see, there's 3 pictures showing all the different things we've tested and how it works and why we did it. If you want to keep on scrolling.
I like that you had V1, V2,
Yeah.
V3. It really showed your design process there.
Yeah. Some more important things to note. For the Innovate Award, you want judges to know what you innovated on, and your presentation is usually pretty short, so you can't talk too detailed about it, but on your portfolio, you can show explicitly, we just wrote innovate, so that judges would know, hey, what part was innovative. And then next, we also had some calculations. A lot of teams think that, calculations, they have to be super fancy, like you calculated something crazy, but you don't really need to. All you need to do is get the point across that you thought about it and you calculated some things. Like, for example, we calculated the different slide heights. Like, a lot of teams obviously use linear slides in this game, but we just wanted to show that, we thought about it and we put it there. So yeah. We also had some lessons learned. That was also one of the requirements. So just showing how, you tested things, you tried different ways to make your robot better, and how those worked out is very useful.
I like how your call out for it. You didn't just put it random in buried. You want the judges to be able to see it and be like, oh yeah, they do have lessons learned.
That's another big point. We wanted to make sure we labeled everything really big, so judges could be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then lastly, I think one of the big important things is images. If you could tell from my portfolio here, half of the page is pretty much just images, whether that be CAD or the physical robot. Being able to show that, you designed this and just visually really helps judges who may not be super technical. they can know, this is what you're talking about when you describe it. And yeah, that's most of what I have for all the mechanical stuff.
I also say, like, if you get a judge who comes around into the pits and is asking you technical questions, just be passionate. You built the robot, you put your heart and soul into this, and so they really just want to know about your robot and what you did. And so be passionate with it. Don't be afraid to say, like, this is a passion project, or this is a labor of love, and this is my favorite part about it. And like, oh yeah, like this took me quite a bit of time, and this is why. Don't be afraid to show emotion about what you did. You put a lot of time.
Also, definitely describe like your process of how you got to things. Like, your robot is there, and you did so much work on it. Telling the judges about that, they want to know. They're curious. They're excited about your robot. You want to also be excited about your robot.
So, moving into our outreach aspects, I showed you earlier the kind of design phases of what my team would do to develop their portfolio. So I actually have the finished project of that year. And this portfolio is also an award-winning portfolio, and it ended up taking home Connect at Pennsylvania State. So that was exciting. But we were much more outreach-focused team as opposed to a technical-focused team. Every team has their niche and what they do best. And so we had a big outreach focus. And so going through our portfolio, one thing we kind of wanted to show was who we were. We had a very interesting organizational structure. And so we had a lot of teams, and we were the oldest team, and so we would help mentor those younger teams. And so trying to convey that, that's something that I feel like if I was going to go back and redo it, I would do it better. But at the time I was 17, so
I feel like that still looks really good though.
It was a couple iterations. It was a labor of love, but yeah. So moving into like team plan and stuff, just like you had, we had a more outreach focused team plan because that's who we were. But we used a lot of graphs. We like graphs. If I would go back and change it, we have a lot of words, a lot of words, and so I think once again, empty space helps. And so we did like to let our graphs do a lot of the talking for us. We are a team that's been around for a long time, so we have a lot of data, basically. But even if you're a team that is fresh off the boat, you can, you have a story. You have data that shows a story throughout the year. What did your recruitment like? Did you get anyone mid-season? Things like that. That's still data. Yeah, so moving down, we included a SWOT analysis. You kind of talked about weighing the different aspects.
Yes.
This is a more team-wide SWOT analysis. It was more about like our retention and us as a club, considering that helped really with sustainability and like.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple ways to do this.
Yeah, no, there's so many ways to do it. Especially focus on your team identity, who you are as a team. Your team was very technical, and so your strategic plan was very interesting to me. Because I had never seen that before. And then I talked a little bit about earlier how our theme for that year was like professional development, because we were all pretty much about to graduate. We were all 11th and 12th graders. So we had a whole section just to that. How has Robot helped develop that professional growth? Because that was what our goal was. We set out for that.
I can definitely see a lot of that on there, especially with company connections, talking to a lot of people.
Yeah, we tried to tell the story of what we did that year. Because at the end of the day, that's what your portfolio is for. You're telling your story. So if we go down, now we'll get into like the outreach specific stuff. So as I mentioned, we're a very outreach heavy team. So that means we've done a lot of outreach.
It's a lot.
Yes. And so the hardest thing for us was like, how do you convey that? And the other thing was, at the time, we had 2 other sister teams. We're now up to 3. But we would sometimes compete with our sister teams. Yeah. And so how do you differentiate what we did versus other teams? And I know a lot of teams out there have this issue. You get into the judging room and the number one questions the judges have are, well, what did your team do? How is that different from your sister teams? And so we really struggled with that at first. How do you represent that? And so what we do is we would break it down by, I don't know if they still use these categories, but at the time they used organized, participated, and attended were like the 3 buzzwords.
I think they still use those.
I can't remember if they do.
Sure.
But we kind of broke it down. And we had we sat down with our sister teams and made sure everyone was on the same page. And we were like, okay, well, like I ran point on this event, so that falls under curiosity organized. And, but we attended our sister team's event. And so they organized it, but we attended it. And so we worked through that with our sister teams to make sure that, you know, everyone was on the same page and we could very clearly say, well, yes, we attended their event, but we organized these ones specifically. So we just had a big time focused on showcasing what we did. We used a lot of numbers at the beginning to give an overall picture, but then dived into the specifics of our events. Our big event for that year was we partnered with an MLB baseball team to kind of do a big STEM day. And so we were trying to showcase what we did. That we were trying to showcase that this was a coordinated effort, that we did this. It didn't just fall into our laps. And so if you have an event like that where you went through all the steps, you coordinated it, you contacted the people, you set it up into the logistics, make sure you tell them. Because at the end of the day, the judges are trying to give teams awards who did good stuff. And so you just need to communicate that you did this.
Yeah, on communication, I really liked how you made all your stats really big so judges can immediately see, like, wow, this team had a massive impact on their community.
I will say, though, one thing is you need to back up your numbers because you will get questions about your numbers. I remember that was at States. We have a pretty big mentor number that year. We had 35 mentors. And we literally got the question, why do you have so many mentors? And I remember I had a spreadsheet of all our mentors, if they were internal, external, how they helped us. And I pulled out the spreadsheet because that's part of our engineering notebook. So in the pits, I could say, well, these are all our mentors. So these mentors helped with the robot. And these ones were mentoring us on event coordination. And these mentors helped with design reviews. And so back up your stats. You know, you have the data. Back it up.
It's definitely a great way to do it.
Yeah, you have your engineering notebook. And while the judges can't take that information back to the judging room, they can write it down. And so if you have supporting facts, like we had lots and lots of outreach spreadsheets to tally all these numbers, we printed them out. They weren't very pretty because they were in our engineering notebook, but they existed, and that really does help.
Yeah, definitely showing a lot of, like, when judges come to your pit, if you're very prepared with all the stats, they'll be like, wow, this team is super prepared. They obviously, none of the stuff is fabricated. They have all the stats here. And it's just really good to show that, hey, we thought about this, we made sure that everything was accurate, and also that, you know, you have evidence to prove it.
Yeah, so kind of moving down, sometimes events can be complicated. There's a lot of different aspects, so just try your best to communicate those. You're trying to get the judges a full picture of what you did. And so graphs, charts, pictures, the whole 10 yards. We did lessons learned for outreach, not just technical stuff. I'm trying to think if, I know that, is that still a think criteria?
I'm not too sure.
I think at the time it was think criteria, so that's why we included it, but we did. And some of them seem obvious, like, we learned that, you know, it's hard to, we accidentally scheduled an event over a holiday weekend. We didn't know. I think it was Memorial Day weekend or something, and it was like, a lot of people are out of town, and we just didn't realize. So, like, even stuff that's, like, as simple as that, you have to learn.
Yeah, I think throughout the FTC season, there's always so many things that you do wrong, you make a lot of mistakes, and you might want to, like, get that out of your brain. But showing to judges that, hey, we learned from this, we got something out of doing robotics is very good.
Yeah, and then we did choose to separate our outreach for technical, like, connect-based outreach, and then this has since changed, but we had motivate-based outreach. Now it's sustain and... Oh, I can't remember what the other one is. Reach, yes. And now it's sustain and reach, so you could split up your events that way, you know, whatever you think. But we did ours based on technical, which was connect-oriented, and more outreach-based, which was motivate. So then our judges could... You're trying to make it easy on them, so then they could see exactly what fell under connect and exactly what was for motivate.
Definitely labeling everything to the awards will help judges, like, if they're thinking about, hey, what do I want to give the Connect award to, and they're reading your portfolio and they see Connect, they know exactly what they're looking for. Yeah.
And some slight things that I will kind of give you about, especially Connect Award, because that was my baby. That was like our goal for the year, was to get the Connect Award. I will say, like, you know, a lot of teams do company tours, and company tours are great. The big thing is, what did you get out of it? And so what we like to do with companies would we would do design reviews. And so we would go tour them, and we would learn about that, and then we would do a design review, and so then we would able to take their feedback. Another thing was, if you do, so we went on a couple different like manufacturing-based tours, and so we would look at their technology, and sometimes those would come out in our designs. So highlighting specifically that, you know, like, oh, this type of intake was something we saw at this company where they were manufacturing water bottles. Yeah. Then you can point, yeah, we learned about that here, and it directly correlated to our robot.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. You can really show, like, wow, I didn't just go here to get outreach. I came here to learn something. Yeah.
If you scroll down, we actually had, like I mentioned, we're a very outreach-oriented team. So, keep going. There's a robot page. Maybe it's not on here. That's so sad. It's not. Basically, we, I guess it's not on there. No.
I think I saw a part on, is it the one on working with local company? That one?
Yeah, we had a different graphic though. Basically, we had a graphic that showed our robot, and then it had arrows to all the different things on our robots that had changed or been impacted by companies in our area. So we had worked.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And then it showcased, like I said, we were very outreach oriented. So we were showing how our outreach had impacted our robot.
Yeah. Never seen a team do that.
That was fun. That was cool. I think that's really what, at the end of the day, took the cake when it came to Connect, because we showed that we not only worked with individuals and STEM individuals in our community, but we applied that. Definitely. And I think that's like the number one. That's pretty cool. We there's a company in our area who specializes in plastics, and so we worked with them on our 3D print. Oh. And so we did a couple back and forths, because our gripper that year, they were like the cones. Yeah. And so
a lot of claws.
Yeah. And did we struggle? How do you grab those things? So we had a lot of different iterations, and then you know, we're high schoolers. We're not exactly 3D printing professionals. So we did a lot of back and forth with them on, like, how do you make it stronger, and how will you print this? And then we actually got a little bit of sponsorship from them, and they printed it for us. And
that's great.
It was an awesome collaboration, and we could directly say, our gripper is better because of these reasons, because we worked with this company.
It's definitely very useful information.
Yeah. That was definitely a cool experience. Any other last-minute portfolio thoughts?
I think last thing, just have fun with it. It's your portfolio. You can do what you want to it. You don't have to follow a super strict formula of, you know, perfecting every single thing, copying other teams. Just make it your own and just make it fun.
Yeah, let your personality show. We were like, my team is from Mars, Pennsylvania, and so we leaned into aliens and spaceships, and, you know, we had some random graphics here and there. So let your personality show.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a break from the technical stuff, and let's put on our PF pajamas and get festive.
Yeah. So moving on from all the FTC stuff, what's under your first holiday wish list?
Let's see. Should we do technical wish lists first?
Sure.
I want the new control system and motors.
Ooh.
I think that would be so fun.
Yeah. I think testing all those would be very interesting as teams have to navigate using new designs.
Yeah.
I think for me, a very hard question. I think just getting more 3D printers. You can never have too many of those.
Yes. Everyone loves a good 3D printer.
Yeah.
They're so pretty too.
Now there's just so many parts getting printed instead of being bought that you can't have enough running at the same time.
Yeah.
Going around.
I mean, we did most of our odometry all custom, and so man, did we break those things. Let me tell you.
A lot of broken parts.
I definitely think that would be, I was thinking about, one thing that we did have, we had Christmas lights for an event, and then I hung up the Christmas lights in our bot lab after. And so if I was doing it again, I would put a lot of Christmas lights on my holiday wish list. It sets the vibe, guys. It makes everything happier. I'm trying to think if there's any big outreach things. I would buy a new cart. I would get like one of those decked out carts. Like, it would be sick.
Just one with like everything that you can throw
Yes.
there.
We had like 3-tier carts, but they were like the standard black 3-tier carts. Yeah. So your robot, it was like literally 18 inches wide on the top. So your robot had to fit exactly in those 18 inches.
A lot of games were extending.
Yeah, and you had arms, and you would come in at weird angles. Yeah. So I would want a little. I think they now have a battery pack on our cart, but I would get a battery pack. Let's get a charging station. Let's get all of the last minute screws and screwdrivers. I feel like that's like a luxury. It's like a nice cart. Yeah,
that's my team. We had like a little flat cart, and it was just
like
on the ground, and you couldn't drag it like a little.
Hey, it shows that like you don't need nice things. Like,
no, but it would be so nice.
Oh, it would be so sick to have a nice cart. I remember our team hosted like a red and green scrimmage, and so I like to be festive, so I decorated our cart.
Color coded.
Oh yeah, it had like tinsel and a wreath and a bows, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. We wore like elf hats to the scrimmage. It was fun. So
another fun thing that I see a lot of teams do is they have like a little custom controller holders.
Oh yes,
I'm always so jealous of those.
They're so pretty. Yeah.
And you just like bring the entire thing.
And they just
I remember my teams would be like
a
million wires.
You have a gazillion wires. You're like, is it plugged in?
Things.
Like, yes. Yeah. I feel like also if I had an unlimited budget, nice walls and wall graphics.
Like for your rooms.
For robots. Sorry.
Robots. Like plates.
Like basically like plexiglass. Like we sometimes would do like green, and then you do like decals on them, and like show your spirit. I don't know. I thought the robots who had that were so bougie.
The more fun stuff.
Yeah. Hey, that's what wish lists are for. Fun stuff.
True.
All right. So on a side note, PFP org side note, we recently had a gingerbread house competition, and so we're going to show you our award-winning, honorable mention.
I think they were award-winning.
Oh, we'll go with award-winning gingerbread houses. We'll give them a little shout-out. Yeah. They look delicious, I'm going to be honest. Yeah. But they've been sitting here for 48 hours. Wait, trade them. Because this one's mine.
Oh,
this is perfect.
Destroyed. Yeah.
Do you have a name for your house? They smell delicious.
I didn't think that far with a name. It's kind of just a house that's kind of lopsided.
No, it's creative.
It's flipped.
It's creative. Yeah. It's the upside down house.
Innovation.
Yes, I would give you. You know what? Your house gets the Innovate Award for sure. 10 out of 10 Innovate Award. We have the sweet shop here. I live on the philosophy that more is more, so it's decked out. It's got the holiday lights and everything.
I think my philosophy is simple is better.
Honestly, though, yours is so ingenuitive that I love it. It's awesome.
There's no wrong way to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, if you're coming to Purdue and you want to build gingerbread houses, don't forget to come find PFP.
Yep.
If not, we wish you happy holidays. And we wish all FTC teams good luck on your upcoming season, or if you've already started competing, good luck. Have fun with your portfolios. Don't forget that it's yours. Represent yourself and your team and give it your best shot. But yeah. Anything else last minute?
I think that's it.
Alrighty. Well, guys, I hope you guys learned a lot about FTC engineering portfolios, and everyone at PFP wishes you all the best for the holiday season. Make sure to bundle up, and, well, I guess if you're in a cold place. We're in a cold place.
Stay warm.
Yeah. Purdue is in a cold place, but PFP is such sweet sorrow. We'll see you guys next time.
See you.